All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to go live. We are digitizing through foundation protocols. Artificial intelligence constructs are sending us through the airwaves to the encrypted back channels to YouTube. Very sneak, much clarity. All right, here we go. We are getting closer. We just got copy there. Save that. Back up. Refresh. Setting up the space, setting up the space. It looks like we are live. Almost there, almost there. All right, I hope you guys can hear me. I'm pulling up the YouTube chat right now. All right, I can see you. Hello, Insanity Major. Hello, Lady Fairy J. Good to see you guys online. With that, we are 3, 2, 1, broadcasting. Fantastic. We are live. Just good. Drink something. We got it all sorted. Hey there, Foundation staff. This is level 2 Foundation. Good morning. Good Sunday. How was the Super Bowl? I didn't watch it. I was busy setting up the stream. Hey there, Foundation staff. This is level 2 researcher Theron Sherman, but you can call me Sherm. Welcome to another anomalous broadcast from Site-42. For those of you unfamiliar with our show, the rundown goes like this. Number 1, I read you an SCP document or tale. Letter B, I open up the floor to the community to discuss what we've read. We are often visited by SCP authors, staff, fans, and if we're lucky, the author of the article themselves shows up to share some insight. Remember that if you would like to join the conversation yourself, you can join us on the Get Vocal app during the show and get on camera. And we are also monitoring YouTube and Get Vocal text chats. Also, remember that if you really enjoy the show, leave a like and a comment to help us know, and definitely become a patron at patreon.com/site42. With that said, all of our pregame is out of the way. It is time for tonight's article, which is SCP-3426, titled Reckoner by Modulum. And with no further ado, let's get down to it. Image set. Hey, Floppy, good to see you. And so we begin with item number SCP-3426. Object class Keter. Special containment procedures. Until the nature of SCP-3426 can be definitively ascertained, containment should focus on preventing as many of the theorized conditions for its occurrence as possible. As such, scientific progress into a unified physics hypothesis and the creation of infinitely sustainable energy should be heavily impeded. Other areas of social and technological progress that could potentially result in an occurrence of SCP-3426 on Earth must be prevented by any reasonable means currently available. Additional measures may be taken in the event that the human race approaches attainment of Type 1 civilization status, as defined on the Kardashev scale. Investigation of phenomena related to SCP-3426 will take place under Operation Gray Voices. Mechanical probe surveys to a maximum range of 100 light years will attempt to ascertain the commonality and range of SCP-3426, and manned excursions of post-3426 planets are currently in the planning process. Operation Gray Voices will centralize the relevant collected data and collaborate with other Foundation internal research divisions, including the Memetics and Infohazards Division, Temporal Anomalies Division, Thaumatological Department, and Biological Containment and Research Division, for the purpose of attaining a greater understanding of SCP-3426. Civilian surveys of exoplanets and cosmological imaging projects will be strictly monitored for images or data that show evidence of SCP-3426. Upon discovery, Data of SCP-3426 is to be erased or edited as is necessary, and amnestics administered to persons involved. Ooh boy, super creepy. Lady Fairy might join us, but they're reading a book. That's all right. Books are important. We're also reading an SCP. That's good too. And Insanity Major doesn't want to download an app or get on camera. I understand. If you ever feel the need, a lot of people get on Get Vocal and they will like put an avatar or they will cover the camera. That way they're just like a talking hand. Ha ha ha. And yes, Floppy, this story and its following stories are so good. And so, continuing on from the description. By the way, yes, I'm going to try and talk more during the story because the stories are usually really long. I like doing long ones live, but then I never hear from you guys. So I'm going to like interrupt on certain like good act breaks and like see if that is more fun. Where were we on the description? Ba-ba-ba. Description. SCP-3426 is a phenomenon that is responsible for the total extinction of a technologically and socially advanced planetary civilization. SCP-3426 may be an event, entity, process, object, or concept. To date, there exists no definitive hypothesis on the attributes of the anomaly. However, it is known that the conditions for the manifestation of SCP-3426 are self-consistent and follow an established pattern. It is believed that SCP-3426 manifestation is widespread and possibly universal. A planet that has been affected by SCP-3426 is termed post-3426. Post-3426 planets and civilizations share a number of common characteristics. The civilization must have achieved a relative degree of global sociopolitical stability. A limitless or indefinitely sustainable source of worldwide energy is in use. Examples: nuclear fusion, hydrogen mining, orbital solar collection, or enhanced geothermal systems. This energy must be widespread and plentiful enough for the civilization to qualify as a Type 1 civilization or higher on the Kardashev scale. A unified scientific theory or model of the universe must have been developed. Space travel is commonplace and is advanced enough to allow for detailed exploration of the local solar system. There exists an organization whose purpose is to catalog and contain as many anomalous phenomena as possible. Interesting. So, not only do they have to be super space fancy and high energy and all that and scientifical, but also they have to have an SCP Foundation of their own. And so, okay, that's interesting. Let's keep rolling. Post-3426 planets display a widespread anomalous material corrosion, reality distortion, complete or near complete corruption of information and information media, and the pervasive presence of visual cognitohazards and abnormalities. Sapient life forms on a post-3426 planet appear in two stages based on time since SCP-3426 took place. If it has been 1 year or less since the occurrence of SCP-3426, such organisms appear suspended or frozen in place, lack any consciousness, and display total cell death. In some cases, they may appear translucent or blurred to cameras and to the eye. Afterwards, intelligent life is apparently completely spatially erased. While possessions, information, and structures created as a result of the species remain present, if highly deviated, no physical remains of the species itself exist. Data, items, and artifacts were collected primarily through the mass usage of drones, orbital probes, and imaging sensors deployed onto post-3426 planets. Further information on the exact properties or effects of SCP-3426 has been difficult to recover. Probes that enter the atmosphere of a post-3426 planet quickly deteriorate within 24 hours, becoming affected by the space-time distortion and material corrosion permeating the planet's surface and surroundings. As a result, recovered data on post-3426 planets is extremely limited. Woo! This do have, as Lady Fairy J says, yeah, this one does have a good creep going on. Based on data and related analysis from Operation Grey Voices, it is believed that SCP-3426 induces a slow collapse of the consistency of universal constants and stable states within the planet. This collapse weakens force interactions between elementary particles, creates extreme planet-wide ontokinetic and material distortion effects, and gradually prevents any information or conscious thought from being distributed. This process culminates in all matter on the planet reaching a state of catastrophic incoherence, theoretically resulting in the slow erasure of objects, concepts, and life forms originating from it. This phenomenon has been provisionally classed as a Z-class theta class cosmic fragmentation scenario. What is that Greek letter that looks like a triangle with an upper tail thingy? It's like a V, but then, no, it's like this because there's that, and then there's a wrist thing. I don't know that Greek letter. My curiosity has gotten the better of me. This is a tangent. Greek letters. We are learning something today, people. No, that's not right. What are you? What even are you? Don't know what you are. You look like a tent. Are you even Greek? Yes, it's Lambda. It is Lambda. I have discovered the answer. This is a ZK class. This is a ZK Lambda class cosmic fragmentation scenario. See? The more you know. Okay. This phenomenon has been provisionally classed as a ZK Lambda class cosmic fragmentation scenario. Continuing on. While research into SCP-3426 has yielded a vast variety of information regarding its nature and end results, the mechanism by which SCP-3426 acts remains unknown. Addendum 3426.1 incomplete list of post-3426 planets. At present, Operation Grey Voices has examined all exoplanets within a 75 light-year radius of Earth. From this current exploration area, 16 planets have met the hypothesized conditions required for the occurrence of SCP-3426. All 16 were affected by SCP-3426 either upon discovery or within 5 years of detection. Access file. A partial list of post-3426 exoplanets and their characteristics is shown below. This table has the name of the planet, the traits of said planet, the characteristics of the planet post teardown, and possibly notes if applicable. All right. Glies 1214b, post 3426-2. Traits: ocean planet, hydrogen and a helium atmosphere. Dominant life forms were aquatic non-humanoids with primary settlements underneath the ocean. Technologically advanced society organized into strict unified social hierarchies. Outposts existed both in the atmosphere and in space, used for the purpose of research into the local star system. The civilization had no clear leader of governmental system. Rather, computers dispensed resources distributed according to caste. Post-3426 characteristics. After SCP-3426, Post-3426-2 had approximately half of its water transmuted to deuterium and tritium oxide. Deuterium and tritium oxide. Consciousness in all sapient life forms spontaneously stopped. Computers and other data storage devices underwent apparent global information corruption, with only 15% of the civilization's information remaining readable. Water molecules no longer flow. The substance acts as a single, rigid, continuous solid. Notes: none. All right, I feel super Star Trek reading about these, like, dead planets. It's really cool. Like, this is super Star Trek dialogue. I'm here for it. Lady Fairy J. Yep, it's all, look how far you've come. Time to make physics and biology completely fall apart. Oh, knowledge is power until it isn't. Oh, no. Next planet. Kepler 443b, post 3426, number 5. Traits: thick atmosphere, strong gravitational field, and cold average temperatures. Dominant life forms had mammalian characteristics such as body hair and a live birth, but possess ectothermic circulation in the same fashion as reptiles. Dominant religion involved the worship of an entity ascribed to the planet's star, which was said to be responsible for continually rebuilding and moving the universe. Post-3426 characteristics. Post-3426-5 experienced a form of catastrophic reality degradation in which the formation of chemical compounds became impossible due to the weakening of the electrostatic force. An additional anomalous effect causes all native living. I got past the first part. Hashtag voice actor problems. An additional anomalous effect causes all native living organisms to be perceived as a two-dimensional shimmering gray film. This effect is both present in photographs and video from the planet and physical artifacts collected from it. Notes: none. Lighten B, post 3426-10. Traits: rocky planet with Earth-like composition, orbiting a red dwarf. Mild, 292 degrees Kelvin temperatures, and nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere. Dominant intelligent life was humanoid. The planet had recently survived the effects of a catastrophic nuclear war, which subsequently led to a current period of utopian peace and social stability. Primary energy source was obtained through large-scale drilling into the planet's mantle. Post 3426 characteristics. All events taking place on post 3426-10 occur in apparent disjointed slow motion. Movement, interaction, and even thought are anomalously decelerated. This deceleration is a burp. This deceleration is inconsistent among the surface, with some regions being, quote, slower than others. This effect can also manifest as a complete and total stopping of time, with all particle movement in an affected region ceasing. Analysis of the mantle of the planet revealed that it had been transformed into a perfectly smooth, transparent layer of pink glass. Interaction with this glass results in malfunction of any nearby electrically powered devices and an intense feeling of vertigo. Notes: the dominant life forms inhabiting post 3426-10 appear to communicate in an undocumented Indo-European language with significant similarities to Hittite? Hittite. Significant similarities to Hittite. The status of this phenomenon as an anomaly is currently under review. We have Lady Fairy J is less depressed because there's banter. I'm happy that is not depressing. It's way easier to bind the Star Trek vibe when I'm freaking not tripping over the phrase an anomaly. An anomaly is one of the worst things to voice act. It just keeps coming up. An anomalous effect happened. An anomalous effect sounds good until you say it wrong 1,000 times. And then you want to scream. Insanity Major points out they're worshiping a star. It's obviously the Pithists. Yeah. Hittite. Thank you, Lady Fairy. Hittite is how you say that word. Floppy points out that it's starship fuel, but almost definitely wrong. But also, Lighten B is also destroyed in 3841. Oh, poor Lighten B. Now I really want an article about the many deaths of Lighten B. It can be like that. I don't know if anyone here has read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I have. That's why the channel is Site-42. There's the mystery is solved. But there's one part in the books, one of the books, I forget which one, where in the first book, a whale spontaneously, a potted plant spontaneously appears in the air, falling to its death, the potted plant's death, and all it thinks is, not again. And in the first book, you're like, why did the potted plant think not again? Why did the potted plant think? But why specifically not again? And then later on, you find out why, and it's because this person keeps being reincarnated and killed again. And I wonder if he was reincarnated as Lighten B. And Lighten B being destroyed in numerous SCPs is the new not again. Aw. Okay, back to the planet list. Trappist 1F, post 3426-13. Traits: orbits ultra cool dwarf star. Ultra cool dwarf star. Rocky Earth-like composition with large high-pressure water vapor envelope covering planet. Similarly to Earth, planetary society consisted of a multitude of separated geopolitical states coexisting in a roughly capitalist system. Analog of the SCP Foundation, notably, was a peacekeeping organization that traded anomalies and used them strategically to prevent wars, research medical and scientific advances, or expose social and economic injustices. Post 3426 characteristics: extreme spatial distortion. Entire regions are displaced from the rest of the surface, while a low static blur is visible across most of the planet. It is unknown whether this is a visual or an ontokinetic effect. On occasion, a sudden tear in the space-time continuum within the planet's atmosphere is detected, following the appearance of black mist. This mist will usually move towards an unconscious sentient life form or data storage device and enter it. Once this has been completed, it becomes impossible for any being to comprehend any concepts related to or contained in the affected object. This has made data gathering from post 3426-13 extremely difficult. Notes: all containment sites operated by post 3426-13's SCP Foundation analog have been replaced by large spheres of total darkness. Mechanical probes entering these regions of total darkness experience an unusual form of breakdown. See Addendum 3426.3. But before we do that, on to Addendum 3426.2, Recovered Data and Artifacts List. Rough translations of recovered data were provided by the Linguistics Department under request by Operation Grey Voices. Translations are not guaranteed to be accurate. Access file. Item source: computer terminal drive on space station orbiting post 3426-2. We're on the verge of finally discovering it. Corrupted. Equation of everything. The mathematics is working perfectly. Too perfectly, perhaps, for me to remain comfortable with this experiment much longer. Corrupted. Natural laws, behaviors, forces? I cannot help but fear what these findings imply. I cannot keep this secret. This conclusion is something that affects everything, not just on the planet, everywhere. Corrupted. That exists. We are not corrupted. As I stare further and further into the sand grains that make this world, I am further convinced that they are built out of mist and magic. Item source: emergency message found playing on repeat in all structures in post 3426-2. Attention! Corrupted. Worldwide informational, physical, and chemical hazards. Please remain calm and take note of the following precautions to ensure your safety. Once this message completes, shut off all electrical devices you currently possess. Close all openings or viewings from outside the building you are currently in. If you are not currently inside an enclosed building, seek shelter in one immediately. Cover up or illuminate all sources of darkness in your location of shelter. Destroy any reflective surfaces in your location of shelter. Destroy any transparent surfaces in your location of shelter. If you begin witnessing bizarre, disturbing, or unsettling effects occurring in your location of shelter, do not report or point them out to any other person. Doing so will allow corrupted to spread. When you begin to hear the screaming in your mind, move to a room or place where you can be alone. Darken the room completely. This will allow the fading to happen most quickly. Bring any possessions of sentimental value with you. The screams will become overpowering. The screams will become overpowering. Do not panic. Focus on a memory of great intensity to you, and be silent until you do not exist. If at any point you feel that you cannot continue, remember that a society-issued weapon should be available in every facility. Your death will be quick and painless. This message will continue until nothing is left to hear it. This message corrupted it. This message will continue until nothing is left to hear it. Ooh. Ooh-wee. Item source: a native plant from post 3426-5. As far as can be ascertained, the plant is approximately 0.75 meters tall and is most likely a flowering plant. This plant was common across post 3426-5's ground and was pollinated by many native fauna on post 3426-5. Within the first 15 minutes of viewing, the object is perceived by all intelligent life as a plant-shaped mass of static. The static appears two-dimensional from all sides despite existing in a three-dimensional space. Extended observation of the static tends to cause discomfort in all observers. I am also uncomfortable. I apologize. After 15 minutes have passed, the plant is no longer able to be perceived by the observer. The observer's memories of the plant are immediately retained, but physical viewing of the plant's location presents itself as if the object itself was not present. Testers could describe an unknown object perfectly, even if it was presumably obscured by the plant. This effect changes after an additional 2 to 3 days had passed. All people who are affected by the property that prevents perception of the plant begin to see the plant as a miscellaneous flower that the observer attaches emotional value or meaning to. The flower type that is perceived varies greatly from person to person. Foundation artificial intelligence constructs, upon being presented with the plant, appear to perceive it as a random pattern of shapes and colors. The reason for this effect is undetermined. It is two-dimensional static in the shape of a plant. It is imperceptible for 2 to 3 days. It is a flower I like a lot. Hmm. Hmm. It's also computer generated, just random shapes and colors. Item source. Official internal statement from the SCP Foundation equivalent from Post 3426-10. Ooh, I'm going to like this one. To all that remain, we, the Conclave of Six, reveal our words to you today because Celsigning 5 will soon Celsigning will soon cease to exist. And it must come to pass because of our doing. We delved too far, knew too much. We wanted to know the secrets which were not meant for the mortals to know. Questions of gods and creators. Questions of the elementary makeup of everything. Now we face the apocalypse, divine punishment for our transgressions. We have little left to say. In the coming days, you will find that the domain of physical meaning will shatter into a billion pieces. Specifically, this planet will be ravaged, both by a massive upheaval in universal laws that is roughly equivalent to the entire planet becoming a high-intensity hostile matter-affecting anomaly, or, as you know it, a segment M or threat RH phenomenon, and by a vast number of incorporeal entities. We believe they're entities, but we're not sure. That will attempt to slowly erase and corrupt all sources of information and knowledge originating from Celsigning. Yes, this includes you. You have two choices. If you stay on Celsigning, your consciousness will be ripped apart from you and leave only a pale image of anything you were. Time and space will blend their twisted forms into each other until everything and nothing happens at once, every second squished together and lengthened into eternity. Communication and thought will die a slow death. Eventually, everything that originates from our world will collapse into itself and be erased from the universe. The only fragments of our legacy will be warped to be unrecognizable. Alternatively, you can take the preliminary space shuttle we have made out of all of the anomalous material we still have left. It will get you far, but not much farther, from what we understand. It is the very fabric of the multiverse itself that is coming to blot us out. Long live Celsigning. May its death not be in vain. Oh, that was good. Oh, I liked that. Oh, that was cool. Floppy, those are spoilers. Those are spoilers. I mean, they're kind of not spoilers because we all know what's going on, but you're spoiling things. Item source. Handwritten notes scrawled into the inside back cover of a book on post 3426-13. The world is on slow fire. Swarms of bitter void break apart from the sky and attack. I don't think there's time left to escape. I think even if we did, they would follow. I looked upwards in a moment and the sky was suddenly black and the sun was even darker. All filaments and strands of infectious shadows. I don't even know how they got here. Why they chose us. Why they sent the flying things. Signals. I can't recall the names. But as it hit the black barrier, they simply disappeared. We are going away too. Everything I know is fading. I look at the world, and half of the words I use for things have been blocked out by my memory. The computers don't work anymore. When I opened this book, the words are replaced by bars of white and black, and that's what they're doing, don't you see? They are nothing but nothing, and they want to make us unreal, and time and space unreal. As I look out of this window, the top half of the building next to me is disjointed from the bottom half. The people in the window across are frozen. Then they flash and move for an instant, and are frozen once more. Every time they move, the color of everything turns red and blue and green in a strobe of terror. Reality is coming apart at the seams. My sister is in the house with me. We are trying to reach out we are trying to keep out of reach of the unreal darkness. She has told me that there's a voice in her head. I asked her what the voice was saying. She said it was only a wailing. It is the end of her then. Or is the end it is the end of her it is the end for her then. I will watch as the wailing overpowers her mind, and she forgets everything she is. She will forget she was ever an intelligent being. She will forget all of the world and all of the past and the present and the future, the little of it we have left. She will then become unregisterable to me in my mind or to anyone's mind. Her consciousness and her identity will be severed from the rest of our knowledge until she dissolves alone in a universe of one and becomes an object eaten by the all-consuming unreality. She was too young. I hear something in my head. Corrupted the light. The next section of this document is level 4, 3426 classified. Addendum 3426.3. Post 3426-13 exploration log. Enter level 4 clearance. Well, maybe next time. Woo! That was, oh my god. That was so freaking cool. Like, now, I know what this is. I have read this before. I read this when it was being made because I am this was part of the Doomsday contest that I was on the team of with Modulum and Yossi and Blazing Trail. And so, like, I wrote not part of this, I wrote, like, another story relating to this, and I was, like, looking at this throughout, and I thought I remembered it being a lot more hard sciencey, like, difficult for me to get. There was a lot in this, canon that we were building that was over my head because I'm the actor guy, I'm the artist guy, I'm the liberal arts guy. So when Modulum and Blazing were writing these hard sci-fi molecules and positrons and stuff like this, hard resets of the universe, I was just like, okay, guys. But what if I wrote a Terminator story after that apocalypse? Wouldn't that be cool? And so I did that. That article is like 1 or 2 or 3 stories down the line. I don't know. Did the middle story ever get put up? This is Reckoning. And then we have the exploration log. And after the exploration log, we move on to... okay. So there's 3426, which we read tonight. If I don't have a guest for next week, then we'll do the exploration log for this as well, because we're already running long and that was really quick. And after the exploration log for this is my story, Ignorance is Bliss, which I'm sure we'll get to at some point. It's a tale, and it's a really long tale. So, but it immediately, right now, it immediately follows this article. Blazing Trail for a long time was working on a intermediary between Modulum's 3426 and the exploration log and my tale Ignorance. There was supposed to be something in the middle. And so that hasn't been put to fruition yet. Maybe it will. Maybe I know that Yossi and Modulum were still working on bits of it. But once that gets made, after Ignorance is Yossi made present tense, which is something similar to the aftermath of Ignorance is Bliss. And so that is a shorter tale in the same storyline. And apparently we're turning this canon into like there's a lot of stuff going on that Modulum and Yossi are still working on. I know we're in the works of maybe having a canon page one day. We still have to have like a third author come in because I think or is it a fourth author? Or no, it's 5 stories and we have 4 stories. 3 stories? I guess because the exploration log is part of 3426, unless that counts as a separate tale. We have 4 pages and 3 authors. So we either need 1 or 2 more pages to make a canon, like official. But they're working on that. But where was I? Why did I get on this tangent? Oh, yes. So we did this today. If I don't have a guest next week, we'll do the exploration log, and this will be my non-guest canon for a couple weeks until I run out, and then we'll start doing like another canon, because that seems like a fun thing to do when I don't have a guest. We'll do continuous stories. And so, man, oh yeah, so that was my point. I read this when it was being made, and I know all the behind the scenes stuff. I know about, spoiler alert, the pattern screamers and the reality is a simulation and stuff like that. And so when it gets to the point where like I read all this, I knew all this, but like reading through it out loud and really like getting all that, like you saw me geeking out in the Star Trek nerd portion. That stuff was really good. Like reading through the descriptions of the planets, like that was super exciting for me. I had a lot of fun with those planet descriptions. So like I just kudos to Modulum on that, because it was super cool. Things I didn't know about this article while we were still doing it. I'm going to scan through here slowly because teleprompters are slow and this is very long. Come on, son. Go to the top. Play faster. Fast forwarding. All right, we are running down the line. So we had the opening salvo paragraph. So focus on preventing conditions for saving the or for building up the planet. So we have to slow down humanity's rise to protect ourselves. That's rough. That is a rough thing. Usually you think the Foundation is like, you see like the Men in Black and they're like, yeah, we got Velcro from aliens, microwave ovens, da da da. But it's like, no, we got to stop this shit before it gets bad. We got to hold on, humans. So that's an interesting idea that we got to look at. And they figured it out too. Like they figured it out before they reached that point. I wonder at what point in the canon, getting to my story, Ignorance, I wonder at what point we forgot about that. And hey, C-Jobs in the chat. We just finished SCP-3426. We just finished the reading and discussing a little bit of the background of the canon, or the almost canon. And now I'm just like looking at what I think is cool in the article. So if you have things to discuss, yeah, please throw them in the chats and discuss this while I run down things. Because, yeah, first of all, it's really cool that they figured out they had to slow down civilization, because all of the other civilizations apparently didn't figure that out, or they did and didn't do a good enough job. And so I'm really interested in why we know that, at least in my storyline in Ignorance, that we reached the point of being 3426. And so I'm wondering what event in our Earth timeline made us go into that. That would be a cool story that I know that had something to do with the middle story that didn't happen yet, but I want to know like how the safeguards for information throttling got torn down to allow us to reach that bridge too far. You know what I mean? Maybe you know what I mean. Do I know what I mean? And so we're investigating with drones, so maybe humans don't find things, even though the drones disappear after 24 hours. Civilian surveys of exoplanets. Monitor and don't let them find out about 3426 stuff. We have a description where at the point where they reach a certain height, then they are torn down all the way. And so they need a bunch of cool toys to get that big. And post 3426 planets display widespread anomalous material corrosion. That's really interesting. That, like, reality distortion, I get. Complete or near complete corruption of information and information media, I get. Pervasive presence of visual cognitive hazards and abnormalities, I get. But anomalous material corrosion, meaning in the idea that this is going on, anomalies lose their power? Anomalies fade away. If everything's a simulation, then are anomalies glitches in the system? Are anomalies not glitches in the system? Are they part of it? Are they necessary parts of it? And why do they become corroded specifically? Why is there corrosion specific in our description here? Sapient life forms get messed up real bad. They are erased and bad things happen. Brain whaling. Brain whaling is a bad thing. Not to be mistaken for whaling for brains, the being in a boat and throwing harpoons at brains. That is brain whaling. We are talking about whaling brains. Whaling in your brain, not whaling your brain. That's the worst joke ever. You're welcome, internet. And so we have problems getting items because the data, items, and artifacts. We have our data from Gray Voices, the Lambda class cosmic fragmentation scenario. Yeah, the Star Trek section is just so cool. Like, I don't even know why. It's just like when I read it, it reads exactly for it reads exactly like the things they would say in the beginning of a Star Trek episode when they're describing a planet. Ocean planet, hydrogen and helium atmosphere. Dominant life forms were aquatic non-humanoids with primary settlements. Oh my god, I skipped everything. No, teleprompter, come back. What have you done? Everything's ruined. Traits. Ocean planet. Hydrogen and helium atmosphere. Dominant life forms were aquatic non-humanoids, with primary settlements underneath the ocean. Technologically advanced society organized into strict unified social hierarchies. Outposts existed both in the atmosphere and in space, used for the purpose of research and into the local star system. The civilization had no clear leader of governmental system. Rather, computers dispense resources distributed according to caste. You know what? I wonder if that's a typo. I wonder if that's a typo where it's the civilization had no clear leader or governmental system, or leader of governmental system. I think it's supposed to be the civilization had no clear leader or governmental system. I think that's a typo. I will ask the boys about that and see if they want to fix that later on. So, or anybody who's a member of the wiki can fix that if it's a typo, if you are looking at the page right now. So yeah, I like the idea in this planet that water doesn't flow. That's just really creepy. Like, it turned to ice, but it's not ice. Just like the molecules won't move. That's freaky. It's freaky, man. Lady Fairy was right. This gets super creepy on the way down. Like, you're just like, oh. We have our bad temperatures. We have our physical characteristics. Just gets worse, The ultra cool dwarf star. The ultra coolest dwarf star. All containment sites operated by blah, 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 gray sites. Discovering everything. And yeah, and so the once we get to the next addendum, which is the data recovered via Operation Gray Voices, that's when we start to put in the that's when we start to put in the backstory that really sells A, oh my god, this is awful, but B, we knew too much. We went too far. In the YouTube chat, I'm seeing something. Designation Ray for SCPs, yay. Maybe it's just the program of the simulation fixing the bugs. But they create the bugs when they start the breakdown of the planet system. Oh, like on Skyrim, when I put a mod in, then later remove it, it still puts parts of its code still affecting my save game. Interesting. And so this is where we get into the we went too far, we did too much. And also the horror, the announcement. The announcement, when you begin to hear the screaming in your mind, move to a room or place where you can be alone. Darken the room completely. This will allow the fading to happen most quickly. Bring any possession of sentimental value with you. The screams will become overpowering. Do not panic. Focus on a memory of great intensity to you, and be silent until you do not exist. If at any point you feel you cannot continue, remember that a society-issued weapon should be available in every facility. Your death will be quick and painless. This message will continue until nothing is left to hear it. This message will continue until there's nothing left to hear it. This message will continue until nothing is left to hear it. Ooh. Oof. Big oof society. And so, yeah, that is spooky. The part where their foundation is like, bros, we messed up, bros. We knew too much, and now you gotta maybe die. Either die or leave the planet. And if you leave the planet, well, we don't guarantee you'll get away, but you can sure try. Like, that's our only chance right now, because we just done messed it up. We messed it up bad. RB, we'll take that. We'll take that responsibility. It was our bad. Good time dying, guys. Good time dying. Thanks, SCP Foundation Analog from Another Planet. You're the best. All right, so scrolling to, and then we have our nice sad. So yeah, we have our government announcement of terror. We have our SCP Foundation. Yep, our bad. Sorry. And then we have the citizen, the like sad person scrawled in the back cover of a book. And so then we get it from the individual level. So like emotionally speaking, this hits the horror from every angle you would necessarily need. You get, this is the civilian government. This is the foundation saying, oh, fuck. And then this is a human in the apocalypse going, oh no. And also, that's a lot where ignorance is bliss later on goes as well. And so it kind of takes that last human note and goes and blows it up into like a full tale. Neat. I kind of like how that works. Cool. Before we roll out for the night, I'm going to check into the discussion to see if anything was super interesting to pull up there about this article. Author note from Modulum. The end of all, because we separate like ripples on a blank shore, dare not speak its name. Dedicated to all humans, all human beings. The end of all things begins with a question shouted into the infinite night. A question that, when heard, can only be answered with hell and silence. This series is about the answer to that question. Yes, there's a coherent motif theme to all this. And yes, the questions this article poses have very concrete answers. Stay tuned. Don't forget to read the exploration log supplement, which we'll be doing next week. Image, thank you to people. Shattered Thought CSS theme is creation of Yossi. And by the way, go look at the page for this, because the page for 3426 and the Shattered Thoughts canon is super cool. Like, it's all spacey, and like it's got this pretty exoplanet picture on my other hand. But like the backdrop is super sweet. It looks really pretty. So like check that out. Good job, Yossi. You the man. Dog now. People are finding out that, yeah, so it's people discerning the mystery. It's like, oh, is this the pattern screamers thing happening? Or this might be the pattern screamers of the like a version. So yeah, this is essentially a canon that somewhat exists, and one facet of the canon, not the whole facet, like one small facet of the canon is that we're using an interpretation of pattern screamers, SCP-3930, which is that knowledge of the thing is bad and has to be limited, and it is not a thing. It doesn't exist. Pattern screamers don't exist. There's nothing there. Nothing exists there. If you go into the non-existent place, you no longer exist because nothing is there. It doesn't exist. And saying it doesn't exist is really weird, because it supposes it does exist. It means it is an object, it is a thing. But if it doesn't exist, but it doesn't exist, but it doesn't exist, but it doesn't exist, but it doesn't exist. Oh. Okay, so we're looking at pattern screamers. 3930. Looking at these, discovering bad things. maybe everyone has a 3930 on their planet, and that's what happens. Fact, there's a breakdown of reality patterns, and constantly referencing a wailing and screaming makes it really obvious that they're pattern screamers. I mean, you couldn't make it not obvious. You had to have them in the story. There had to be hints. You can't like not hint them. I'm just glad the SCP community pays attention to the rest of the canon, the rest of the site, because there is no canon, but checks out the rest of the site and knows enough about like the backstory of several things to see these hints what they are. I like spoilers when people are like, "Oh no, I haven't seen the episode and I don't want spoilers." I like spoilers a lot because I read in a psychology book that people who have spoilers to the story end up enjoying the story more because they can see the foreshadowing. And that totally happens to me. I get the foreshadowing and I'm like, ooh, writing nerd. Look at, they set that up. Look at how they did that. That's exactly how it should have been done if you want to tell that story. And so it feels pretty cool to me when we get to that point. And so, spoilers tangent ahead, I like that people can see the hints and go, oh, that's what that was. Okay, interesting. So one person's interesting. I like what Mazed said. I'll be honest, maybe I'm just jaded, but the quote, civilization vanishes as soon as it achieves utopia premise, I found kind of lukewarm going in. Because, yeah, you hear that before. It happens. The excellence here comes by virtue of how it ties into the existing, quote, canon involving pattern screamers. It's a wonderfully vicious, no-holds-barred, apocalyptic companion piece to the subtle creep of 3930. It doesn't need to stand on its own because it exists to up the stakes, and does so brilliantly. I love this flavor of existential horror that so deftly casts non-existence as something less of a concept and more of a character, and never going too hammy about it. I'm sure Modulum felt very warm and fuzzy when you said that, Maced. And then, I just like the opening for A Dirty Shame. I feel like this piece is underrated. I do too. It's only like plus 140 or something. And like, I'm freaking out about it right now. I think it's super cool. Not sponsored by the fact that I was on the team for it. I just think it's cool on its own. A list of post-3426 planets in the exploration log gripped me tight and wouldn't let go. With the cross-link to Unbidden, whew, I feel sick from reading it, but in a good way. This might have been my favorite pattern screamer thing I've read so far. I don't consider myself a progress phobe by any stretch. The idea there are some things we actually shouldn't know is compelling to me. I find it legitimately scary because I think wanting to understand is part and parcel of sapience. The whole observing means being destroyed thing makes me think of Animametics Hub and 3125. Oh, those fit this. Okay. And the last thing I have to check out that I'm interested in is there is an exploration log, or there's a cross-link to something called Unbidden that Yossi wrote. And I haven't seen Unbidden yet, but he mentioned it when I mentioned doing... Well, it's not scpwiki.net/unbidden. What is Unbidden? Where is Unbidden? I don't know what Unbidden is. Where is it? Where is this thing that I've heard so much about? Corrupted. Okay. Okay, there we go. Found it. It's the very last one. Okay. Ooh, I'm going to record this one for the channel too. There's a siege. Screaming of millions ruptured the shield. Oof. Yeah. Oh, that's probably super cool. I cannot wait until we get to that. That's going to be awesome. I am looking forward to when we do that one. I guess we do that one then before Ignorance, because it's linked to 3426 straightly. So we'll do the exploration log next week, or next time I don't have a guest. Then we'll do Unbidden, Ignorance, and Present Tense. And maybe we'll do Present Tense the same time we do Ignorance, because Present Tense is kind of short. So we'll do that one like a epilogue. Or we'll do Unbidden and Present Tense in the same one because they're both shorter. I don't know. We got weeks to work it out. But anyways, I am going to pull up the YouTube chat one more time. Thank you, CJops, for upvoting it. Yes, if you have not upvoted it, you should go upvote it because it's good. That is my suggestion. You don't have to take it. You don't have to upvote it if you don't like it. But if you do like it, don't forget to upvote it. And with that, thank you guys for joining me on stream for another Anomalous Broadcast from Site-42. Please remember to keep going to the SCP Wiki because it's awesome. Keep writing things. Keep working on your tale fairy. Your fairy tale? Ah, gotcha. Keep working on your tale. Keep working on all of your articles and tales. Keep making this the best writing community on the internet. Remember to subscribe and become a patron to Site-42 if you want to support the channel. Remember to check out Thursday's video because Thursday's video is our new format. We partnered with Synthetic Alien and he's editing video and we're making live video SCP readings. It's like this, but with a cool sciencey background and special effects, and it's super dope. And so make sure you read that. Insanity Major says, read Vendafriend. And you know what? After we do Shattered Thoughts canon, anytime I don't have a guest, maybe we should do Vendafriend. Keep reminding me, because I'll forget. But if you remind me, then when Shattered Thoughts is done at the end of, I guess, February, March can be Vendafriend month. Although Vendafriend's really long. But, you know, we'll go with it. We'll see how we're doing. We'll see how ABS42 is rolling. Anyways, that interrupted my sign off with a tangent. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, become a patron, support the channel, support the SCP Wiki, support the SCP Legal Fund, support Dr. Gears's medical fund if you haven't done that yet. And thank you guys for everything. SCHRM out. And beep. Boop.